City. And gosh, it is my honor, it's my privilege to be here, to be back in Georgia. One of the best days of my life was spent in Georgia. It was less than a year ago. I got to watch my teenage son become a man as he marched with America's finest, graduating from boot camp there at Fort Benning, receiving great training here in Georgia. And then my son, 8 months later, on September 11th, he and his U.S. Army brigade being deployed to Iraq. And Georgia, you took good care of my son, and now my son and all our soldiers are taking good care of you. Thank you, Georgia. Good to be back here. Now, another good friend of ours was here recently, wasn't he? Senator John McCain, a true American hero, was here also in support of Saxby. And it was just like Senator McCain to put defeat behind him and see what more he could do for the U.S. Senate and to see what more he could do for this great nation. As he tries to progress this nation, he understands that here in Georgia, as you represent true, good American values and patriotism. And by the way, John McCain and I want to thank you for allowing us to carry Georgia with over 2 million. It was our honor to carry the great state of Georgia, over 2 million of you, giving us your votes on November 4th. Now we need you to turn right back around tomorrow and do the same thing for Saxby, because Senator McCain, he came back here because he understands that losing an election doesn't have to mean that we lose our way. He is ready to help carry on the good fight in Washington, but he needs Saxby to help him. So we need you to send Saxby back to the United States Senate to work for all. That is just cut out for us, in front of us, if we are to lead again in changing Washington for the better. In our attempts to put government back on your side, we need Saxby there. It will take rebuilding, and I say let it begin right here in Georgia tomorrow when you send him back to the United States Senate. Let it begin in Georgia. In the months and the years ahead in Washington and in every state capital, we must build our case for reform of government with more than just words, but with good deeds. And Saxby has built a record of real achievement in service to his state and to his country, and that's exactly the kind of man we need in Washington, Georgia. We're counting on you. The rest of the United States of America is counting on you to send Saxby back to the United States Senate. Recently, it seems, in Washington, some politicians, they got a little bit too comfortable in power, feeling a little bit too at ease in the culture of Washington. And too many politicians forgot why they were sent to Washington and who they were to represent. But Saxby has not forgotten, and we thank you, Georgia, for sharing your good senator with the rest of us. Saxby has not forgotten. He has stayed true to his principles. He has stayed true to the values that he has lived out. And those principles, those values now, more than ever, are needed in America. Saxby has a strong independent streak, and we are thankful for that. And that is just like his colleague, John McCain. Saxby doesn't just run with the Washington herd. And with one party in control right now of the House and the Senate and the White House, we need now public servants who will think for themselves. And faced with a steep Democratic majority in Congress, Saxby isn't going to be an easy yes vote or an automatic no vote. He's going to vote his conscience. He's going to do what's right for Georgia and what is right for the United States. Now, if our new president and if Congress, they seek to raise taxes, we need your senator from Georgia to vote against a nonsensical tax hike on all of you and on our small businesses. And that one vote, Georgia, that one vote could make all the difference to you and to U.S. economy, that one vote. In a time of financial crisis, the senator from Georgia, he will be a voice for working people and for small businesses, those small businesses that are the backbone of the American economy. We need Saxby to protect them. It will be the small businesses that create the jobs and get the economy moving again. We need him with his sound mind and his fiscally conservative thinking in there, fighting for our small businesses. He too will be the voice for resource development, safe, sound, responsible resource development, and he has a record to prove that. And that will allow America to become energy independent. And energy independence is the key to America's future, our economic prosperity and national security implications also. Independence there in terms of energy, that again, Saxby has a record of supporting, proposing. He will be a voice for that sound economic development with resource development. And when Washington oversteps its boundaries, the senator from Georgia will be a voice for local control and for limited government. And if the majority party seeks to limit our rights under the Second Amendment, we need Saxby to remind them, no, those rights will not be infringed upon. And as a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Saxby also understands the threats to America, the dangers in this world. He knows that far greater dangers follow if we lose the war against the terrorists in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I ask you, Georgia, on behalf of a whole lot of other Americans, in this time of war, as our young men and women in uniform are counting on you, because they're counting on Saxby, will you re-elect a man who will see America's cause through to victory? And Georgia, in this time of some wanting to disregard the sanctity of innocent human life, in this time when children need protection from violence, and that includes, and it especially includes, our children with special needs, and those children soon to be born, Georgia, will you re-elect a man who does respect life? Understand that the eyes of America are on you. The eyes of America are on Georgia today, tomorrow. We all have Georgia on our minds. We're looking at Georgia and to Georgia because great events will depend on the votes cast by the next senator from your great state. And all of this depends on you. We need you to get out there and vote tomorrow. Now, if you've already voted, your job isn't yet complete. What I urge you to do is get a hold of your family, your friends, your co-workers, those folks you know whom we need to get to the polls also. Offer to give them a ride, whatever it takes, because America is counting on you. Tell these folks that we are rebuilding the party. We understand that there's some fixing that needs to be done, and we need to renew the common sense, pro-working class, conservative cause in America, and it's starting right here in Georgia by sending Saxby back to Yes, Republicans may be in the opposition party right now, but that doesn't have to mean that we're the negative party. We have our path to follow and our own ideals to serve, and we should always look for ways to work together with the majority party to serve the common good, because America deserves no less than our very best efforts today, united efforts. In these months and years ahead, let us reclaim our good name as those with spending restraint and believing in limited government and providing economic opportunity, and by protecting liberty. Let that be us, just as Saxby has already done and will promise to continue to do. Let us all be true to our beliefs. We must be strong in defense of the weak and unafraid to speak up for American ideals, and firm in support for America's finest, those who are defending those ideals for us in a very dangerous way. world. And in all that we do, as Saxby does, let us carry ourselves with goodwill and with confidence and with a servant's heart. Georgia, let us carry ourselves as Saxby does, and let us carry him to the United States Senate again. Thank you. And please understand, this is more than just for Georgia. Truly, it's for the future of the United States of America. We cannot afford to have the unchecked, monopolized power in D.C. that some in the other party would like to see. No, we need the checks and balances. That's the cornerstone of democracy. The race tomorrow will allow the checks and balances. This is for America. This is for America's future. So, Georgia, I thank you for sharing your good senator